I'm joined by Scott Evans, who is the Director of Demonstration and Corporate Flight Operations. Tell me, when are we actually going to see this aircraft being delivered to customers?
Well, we're pushing very hard. We've got 10 airplanes in flight tests at the moment. It's going to be early 2018 for certification of the 500, and then we're pushing for certification of the 600 in 18 as well, and deliveries of both airplanes in 18. So we have a very busy year for this year for us.
So that's quite remarkable this year, because it's only 8 years or so since you actually started the program. Normally certification is a major challenge. We're used to manufacturers delaying. You seem to have done pretty well. How did that happen?
Well, a lesson's only as good as how you apply it, and what we've really learned is the more lab activity that we have for the airplanes, the more maturity that we can drive into the airframe. So we spent a tremendous amount of effort increasing the number of our labs to support the activity of the aircraft, and 2 years earlier than we ever have before. So that's driven tremendous maturity into our airframes that's now paying off, not only in our flight test activity, but it's really going to pay off as we start delivering airplanes to our customers and they start operating them.
So I was fortunate enough years ago to go flying on the G450. It looks very different here. So just talk me through some of these differences that we're seeing in this latest new generation of Gulfstreams.
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about on the flight deck, but some of the major technology changes for us were active control side sticks. We'd wanted to do side sticks for about a decade because it adds more space to the flight deck, it reduces weight, maintainability, reliability, all improvements. But the one thing we could never overcome was the loss of situational awareness between two pilots with a passive system. So we've been working very hard on our active control side sticks, and as you can see, when you move the stick, it follows along on the other side. Well, the positive thing is, again, maintaining situational awareness for the crew, and we're the first manufacturer ever to certify that on an airplane.
Great. And if we look at the displays here, there's quite a bit going on. Can you just talk us through what you have?
Absolutely. So obviously our DUs are similar to what we've used before, but we're adding more capability. We've got enhanced MAV, airport moving maps, where it's all integrated, airport high-resolution databases into our actual map. Obviously our EVS that we really helped develop and create. But then it's the touchscreens. We were asked in the beginning of the design, how do we add more capability and functionality, but at the same time make it more intuitive for us to operate? We knew that we couldn't do that in an MCDU world. So what we really looked at was the technology of the time, which were touchscreens. Everything was moving that way, and we were attracted to the convertibility and configurability, but we needed to make sure it worked on a flight deck from a turbulence perspective. We put a tremendous amount of effort into understanding that, and absolutely, the touchscreens are a fantastic device to interface with on the airplane, but what you'll notice is we put grips around them for hand stabilization when you're interacting with them. We've selected resistive technology, which allows us to set 100 grams of pressure for it to be a valid touch instead of capacitive like our phones. And they let us have more capability than we ever had before when it was an MCDU constrained to 12 line select keys. I mean, literally functions that we have to do every day, like interrupt tasks, radio calls. They're only one swipe away. So if I swipe top to bottom, that radio page comes in and I can instantly start interacting with it and changing the frequency. I can change what I'm interacting with, whether it's VHF or HF for their quick swipe activity, and my CPLC. So all those are one motion away, and now it's not just on the center pedestal. I can do that anywhere. I can do it on any of the outboard or inboard touchscreens. Then other interrupt tasks are like flight plan changes. So a single swipe left or right on any one of the four will bring the flight plan to me, and I can make the changes. So I just drag the flight plan to where I want it, I select a waypoint, and the system tells me what I can do to it. So extremely intuitive. In fact, we were challenged in the beginning, how do you design a flight deck by pilots for 4 pilots? And that's exactly what we went and did.
I think it's very fair to say you've done it. We're going to see the G500 and its bigger sister, the G600, in service by the end of this year. And I tell you what, I can't wait.